Hi there, I'm Kat.
And I'm Derek. Welcome to Chit Chat with Derek and Kat.
We're your backstage pass into the world of family businesses. The real stories, the real challenges, and everything that makes these businesses thrive across generations.
Each week, we'll sit down with entrepreneurs, leaders, service providers, and family dynasties to swap stories, dig into some lessons, and have some laughs along the way.
So whether you're part of a family business, dreaming of starting one, or you just love a good success story, you're in the right place.
So let's get into it. It's time for Chit Chat with Derek and Kat. Welcome back, everybody. We are having another episode of Chit Chat with Derek and Kat. I am Derek Volk. I am the owner and president of Volk Packaging Corporation, a corrugated box manufacturer in Biddeford, Maine. We are recording from 3 different states.
Yeah.
Catherine is right at home in Maine, in the great state of Maine, which is absolutely wonderful in the summer. And none of us ever want to leave Maine in the summer, but sometimes it happens, and we are forced to do it. I am actually in Los Angeles, California, visiting my son, and our guest is Fred Williams. Fred is with Old Port Advisors. He's managing director and one of the partners there, and he is in the great and wonderful state of Ohio, the Ohio. So
Ohio State, the Ohio State
of Ohio. So welcome, Fred. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Thank
Fred.
you.
Let's get started right out of the gate. Welcome to the show, and tell us about what you do at Old Port Advisors.
So Old Port Advisors is a fiduciary that provides kind of wealth management work for individuals and families. We also do consulting work for endowments, and then we provide 338 and 321 consulting services for retirement plans. It's about as exciting as watching paint dry, but it is an integral part of the business community, and we very much enjoy doing it.
And you just celebrated 30 years.
Yes, we did.
Right? So tell us a little bit about how you all started.
So I was on the sell side of the business back in the 70s, which is the brokerage industry, and then migrated to being a fiduciary when we started the firm in the mid-90s. We have had a wonderful run. I'm very proud to say that although it's not a family-owned business, it's similar in that, if you take a look at the managing partnership, we stretch in age from my antiquated near 70 to kids who are also partners who are younger than my kids. I've got grandkids that are about ready to go to college, and I've got partners that are just having babies. So we run the gamut, but it's an enjoyable.
Was your dad ever involved with you guys?
No, my dad was one of the original geeks at IBM back in the 50s.
Okay.
So yeah, although we've got no family working in the business directly, all of our team and partners have had their kids at various times working as interns within the company.
Awesome.
And, they all work in different industries at this point in time. I don't think they wanted to work with their parents. I think that was probably the deciding factor.
I'm always interested in origin stories. What were you doing before, and how did you decide one day that you were going to open a new firm?
So, I came back to Maine in the late 70s to go to grad school, and then I went to work for a brokerage house called E.F. Hutton, and I was, a stock broker, if you want to think of it that way. And starting in the late 80s and into the early 90s, I wanted to I had an itch to start our own business, and we migrated to the fiduciary side in 1994. And it's, we've had. At the time that we started the business, I had 2 older partners than I, and I bought them out as they retired. And then now I've got many younger partners below me who kind of are constituted as my family.
So I met you in 1994 when I started working with Steve Hewins, and he handled our 401k.
Yeah.
So and I've known each other for a long time.
And did he make you some money, Catherine? That's the important question.
Yeah, he did. Well, you don't make a lot of money in the travel business. I had a lot of fun. So there wasn't a lot, in fairness to him, there wasn't a lot to work with, but I got to go on my cruises and have a lot of fun. And then later we reconnected, and Fred got involved with us with the Institute. And he has been he's been a wonderful sponsor for our golf scramble that we just had on Tuesday. We sold it out. We had 132 players. It was 96 degrees. And we did We did and Fred does the drink cart. And now, Fred, when you need to come and play again because they have a fancy drink cart that we
I remember I'm recovering from shoulder surgery at this point in time, so my golf isn't going to be until next year. So,
but it was we do a fun little twist with it because we teach women how to play golf. So we call it the wine and nine. Although a lot of times beginner golfers don't quite get to nine, but we do have some wine and they learn. And then it's just for women. And then we a few years ago, we've done it 8 years now. We decided to give them a final exam, because a lot of business happens on the golf course. So, okay, you got to work towards your scramble. And then we let the men in. So I was chatting with Fred and we were doing a 9-hole scramble. And then as it progressed, we had 2 years ago, people were like, hey, we really want to play 18. So I said and then people wanted 9, people wanted 18. And I'm like, I like to give people what they want. So I was like, okay. I said to the golf pro, I said, it's at none such. And I said, well, why can't we do both? And he's like, in my 20 years of doing golf, I've never seen anybody do that. And well, why not? I said, so we can have some start at 10, the early golfers can come in at 8, and then the ones who wanted, and they can do the 18 hole, and then the ones who want to play a 9 hole can do it at 10:30, and then we can cross our fingers and pray that they're all ready for a barbecue at 1:00. So we did that, did it again, and then it was funny. Brooke, who works with me, she's like, then we need double the prizes. And I was like, okay, we need double the prizes, but we have lots of great family business and other partners. So like Giffords Ice Cream gave us Patriots tickets, and Franklin Printing gave us Sea Dog tickets, and Chris Lynch gave us Mariners things, legacy properties. So we got all kinds of really great presents and raffles, and we raised money. So thank you very much for doing that. It was
no problem.
That's awesome. On a hot day like that, I think.
And Derek, you were a whole sponsor too, and your dad played, and that was fun.
My father played, and after he's 87 years old, and it was after a few holes when he saw how far the guys that he was playing with could hit the ball, he decided that unless they all three of them put it in bad spot, he was going to take a break and watch them hit the drives.
And one of them won a prize. I think it was the longest drive. He won that.
Oh, he did. Yeah. Those guys hit the ball. That's what I told him when he signed up. When I signed him up, I said had to go to California. I said you're playing and you don't have to hit much because these guys hit the ball a country mile. Yeah, it was fun. So thanks. So, Fred, your business is very competitive, as I understand it, because. And I only say that, I assume it is, because I get calls a lot of times from people trying to give me advice, and we have a 401k, of course, in my company. Mm-hmm. So how do you differentiate yourself? What is your company? What do you do to differentiate yourself? First of all, is it competitive, and how do you differentiate yourself?
Yeah, obviously, the industry is very competitive. I mean, you have to bifurcate the industry into its two major components. And I don't want to get too far into the sausage making, but there's the sell side of the business, and then there's the fiduciary side of the business. We've been on the fiduciary side for 30 years. So over there, we have to differentiate ourselves in terms of how we collaborate many times with the professional advisors of all of our clients, whether it's wealth management transfer for a family where we're dealing with their attorneys and their CPAs, or we're trying to do risk management mitigation as far as our business clients are concerned. I think where we shine is how we work with the other professionals that work with our clients. I think that's one of the premises with which we started the firm back in 1994.
Interesting. And do you have a niche market? Do you work with manufacturers? Do you tend to work with more executive kind of law firms and things like that, or is there any niche that you have or that your company has?
Yeah, so this is kind of an interesting contrast. Speaking about the 3 states where we are, obviously, the reason that we all love Maine is because Maine, by definition, is a small town. We've got 1.3 million people in the entire state. Now, in contrast, where I'm sitting right now in downtown Columbus, just the center city is 1.3 million people. So when it comes to what we do in our prime market on the East Coast and specifically in the Northeast, you have to be able to say to yourself, what is it that you're providing, not just to the business community, because you have to look at it in aggregate. 1.3 million people in the state of Maine, you can't specialize too much. You have to be generalist, right? I mean, just think about your business. You can't serve one industry. You've got to be specialized to be able to adapt to all of them. And it's the same thing with us. I think that from the standpoint of where we specialize is that we specialize in terms of how we customize the solutions that we provide for our clients. That's, I think, where we differentiate ourselves.
Do you have clients all over the country, or is it mostly in Maine or Columbia? Like, where are your customers?
We have clients all over the world. I mean, if you think about it, though, but we concentrate primarily in the United States, and in the United States, it is east of the Mississippi. So we deal with obviously different time zones, different attitudes, different approaches. It does provide for great travel opportunities. Just going back to what your early years were.
Yes. So, what is your driving passion
Yeah,
behind your business? What makes you want to get up every day to do this for 30 years?
Yeah. Well, I enjoy the challenge, obviously. Yeah. But I think it is, what is it that if you break it down to its smallest common denominator, we are in the business of solving problems. Simple. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I enjoy that challenge. I think everybody in our firm enjoys the challenge of solving some sort of a problem for a client. I also enjoy working with people. I mean, it would be one thing if we were tucked away in cubicles, only dealing with computer screens and phones. But the nature of the business, particularly where we are in Maine, is you're sitting face to face in conference rooms and offices dealing with human beings. And in the industry that we're in, it is a very emotional industry. People have a very visceral relationship with money and investing. It's fear, it's greed, it's emotion. And being able to navigate that successfully is very gratifying. Sometimes we spend a lot of time holding people's hands. That's okay. That's what part of our business is.
Is there a lot of hand-holding going on right now with the...
Yeah, that's a good question. How's everybody feeling out there?
Yeah,
right. So, I mean,
are you running low on tissues? And
so, as I admonish everyone in the firm, we are apolitical. We have to deal with lots of emotions anyway, so we kind of stay out of that fray. But I think the newsletter we just wrote that we're wrapping it up today. Is that we discuss the concept of uncertainty being the new normal. And I think forget about the industry or the political or geopolitical environment that we're in. Uncertainty for a lot of people is very unsettling. And from our standpoint, then our job is to address that concern and that issue. And that's what we do. So
I one of my favorite phrases is from Steve Hewins, our friend Steve Hewins, that said, "Out of chaos comes opportunity."
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
How do you find working with you? I'm guessing you have a broad range of clients as far as their ownership structure. What is it like working with a family business as opposed to working with non-family business?
So when I went to college, I was a psychology and econ major. I never knew how much of the psychology I'd be using in business. So if you want to apply that to a family business or a business in general, just multiply it, because you have to navigate the inherent personalities and relationships that exist inside of family businesses. And not that it's a negative. It's a reality that you have to deal with. I think, one of the things that's enjoyable about IFOB is that what you're dealing with a lot of like-minded individuals. If you work in for or you are a family business, you're much closer to that point of commerce that generates the revenues that drive the existence of the business that you're in. When you compare that to somebody who works in a cubicle, not that I would ever diminish what it is that these people do, for an entity that may exist halfway across the country, it's a very different understanding of how business operates. So IFOB is kind of like this, it's this little area where you can get together with a lot of like-minded people who think the same way, similar to how family businesses look at themselves and how they want to succeed.
Thank you. I didn't pay him for that plug.
Have you found working with family businesses in Maine? Sometimes I'm not one of these people, but I found living in Maine for most of my life and running a business in Maine, that there's this idea often in Maine that Maine companies are different. The Maine people are different and Maine companies are different. Maybe I'm off. Maybe I'm not. From your experience, is there any difference working with a Maine-owned company versus a Columbus, Ohio family business? That's not a dig on Maine.
No. I get it. I hear you. Yeah.
It's not an insult to Maine. I'm just curious if working with Maine companies is any different.
So it kind of depends on the scale of the company. First of all, let's be clear. Maine is a very unique state. It is comprised of very unique people. We have a very diverse population if you go from, Kittery all the way up to the Allagash. Each of and all of that represents different approaches to how businesses run. Now, I think that there's an element of what goes on in Maine that is very quaint, but at the same time, there's a lot of businesses in the state of Maine that are extraordinarily sophisticated. With our life sciences, with our aquaculture, all of that stuff is pretty cutting edge. That's very different, I think, than what I remember when I first came here in the late 70s and early 80s. I think that the business community in the state of Maine is now accelerating at a pace that it wasn't perhaps 30, 40 years ago. And I think it's primarily as a result of the institutions in the state of Maine that are starting to expand, the university system, the private enterprise as far as, venture capital and stuff like that, that's driving the growth and sophistication of the business community. I wouldn't want to compare that adversely to what I see out here. I mean, Columbus obviously is dominated by the Ohio State University, but it's a driving force of the business community. They're very well integrated in the business community and in the ecosystem of the state of Ohio. Not better, not worse, just different, primarily because of the population. The state of Maine is the oldest state in the country, but it's getting younger.
Do you find that I hear businesses say that it's hard for them to find venture capital or people to invest, and there isn't as much R&D? Do you feel that people feel it's more risky to invest in Maine?
Well, there's a lot of great venture capital firms. Take a look just up the road in Brunswick, Coastal Enterprise Institute and their venture fund. I mean, they are pumping money into primarily businesses that are in the state of Maine, although it's not confined to the state borders. There's a decent amount of venture money that's out there that's supporting businesses. So, I think it's better now than it has been in the past. People oftentimes felt like that they were going to try to get venture money, they had to go to Boston. They don't have to do that anymore. You're starting to see a lot more of it in the state of Maine.
That's great. So when you go and approach someone to get new business, is it a long process? What does that look like?
Yeah. I mean, in the section of the industry that we're in, it is not a sales process. It's a consulting process. You have to identify what it is that you're solving for, whether it's a business or an individual. What is it that you're solving for? Because I'm not going to say that it's all math, because it's math and emotion. We do probably 95% of our business as a result of referrals that come to us from other professionals or from existing clients. So when they come to us, to a certain extent, they've already been briefed in regards of what it is that we do. But it's an extended process because we're solving a problem.
Yeah, the reason I was curious about that was because there are businesses that, if you're selling refrigerators, usually when people come in, their refrigerator's broken and they need to buy a refrigerator probably that day. And they may take a day or two and look around, but it's going to be a pretty quick process. Whereas, like, I know with my banker, for example, I was talking to him one day and I was like, how long is the sales cycle for you? Because people don't change banks very easily. And he said, it can be 15 years. I can work with somebody for 15 years until their bank drops the ball. And then they call me and say, hey, I need a bank.
Yeah.
And, we've been in business now. My company's been in business for 58 years. And we've been with, I think, 2 financial advisors.
Yeah. Right.
In 58 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, isn't that great? Isn't that,
Yeah.
I mean, as long as they're doing the job, that's fantastic.
Not for you if you want my business.
But it is an extended process. It is not a transaction. It's a relationship. And, to get that relationship requires solving a problem. By definition, if they're coming to us because they've been referred by someone else, they have a need or they think they have a need. And then what we have to do is help them solve whatever the problem is that they believe created that need that they have at that point in time.
Right. Yep.
All right.
Or,
So
yeah, it's what Sandler sales would call it, a pain. You have to figure out.
Yeah.
They come into you with a pain, and you basically have to be the doctor and figure out if you can fix it. If you can fix their pain, then they're gonna be willing to pay the bill.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's interesting. And where do you see the business going? All you hear about today is AI, AI, AI. And, the Wall Street Journal had an article the other day that said in the next 1 to 5 years, there could be 50% of entry-level jobs replaced by AI. And within 10 years, we could be looking at 25% unemployment because of AI. It was a terrifying article. How would that impact you and your business? And have you seen changes to your business through AI, even with the concept of somebody saying, I don't need somebody managing my money. I can have AI do it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. AI is an interesting concept. And remember, just in our lifetimes, not that we're old, let's say we're seasoned or mature at this point in time.
Chronologically gifted.
Yes.
I like that.
But if you think about all of the things that have occurred and put it in perspective, I mean, good Lord, I can remember back in the 80s, I think it was the late 80s, early 90s, where the concept of a mobile phone was something that was attached to your car. And now a mobile phone is actually a computer that you've got in your pocket right now. So with things like AI can enhance businesses in terms of, in certain regards. AI has its limitations. What is AI as a large language model based on? That they've looked at in the past that's already out there that they can extract. The art of our business, because, if you think about, Derek, if you're asking about our industry and our business specifically, there's an art and science to what it is that we do. The science is the math, okay? The art is being able to look down the road. AI driving a car is not necessarily 100% safe as far as investing is concerned. Looking down the road and determining what the factors are that are going to influence markets, economies, geopolitics in the future is the art that I think human beings have, because their brain works a little bit differently than an AI chip. I think AI will enhance businesses. I agree with you, Derek. I think it's going to be a negative impact on certain entry-level jobs. But just as we've seen with other dramatic changes in our economy and our country over the years, I think it's going to spawn other industries and other opportunities.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be something that has to be used carefully and embraced at a distance, but not blocked.
It's interesting that you talk about the art, because I was just yesterday, my son and I were driving around LA, which is like a very painful experience. It took us 2 hours and 6 minutes to go 20 miles.
Yes.
Wow.
20 miles, 2 hours and 6 minutes.
Yep.
Thought my head was going to explode.
Yeah.
And we were listening to Matt Walsh, and he was talking about how art, because I don't know if you heard this, but there's one of the number one streamed songs on Spotify right now was not made by a person. It was AI created. And he was saying that art is the one thing that separates us from monkeys. That's the one thing that we do that no other species does. Nobody else makes art except humans. And if we give that up, we're just machines. We're just robots. And it was interesting. He kept talking about it, but he didn't have a solution. I kept saying to my son, okay, we get that's the problem. How do you stop it? You can't, I don't see how you stop it at this point. And it's I don't know, it's very intimidating and scary to think about.
Yep.
How it's going to impact jobs. And it's going to impact a lot of the people that you work with, because if their jobs are impacted, their finances are impacted.
Mm-hmm. If I was to put it in perspective, if I think about what the business was when we started it 30 plus years ago and what the transitions have been through to now, All I have to do is extrapolate out and say, this isn't going to stop. We're just going to continue to evolve our business to meet whatever the needs and solutions are it is that we have to provide. We're not static. It's like it's the same as your business.
Yeah.
You have to evolve and you have to adapt. I see us continuing to evolve because we focus on the art component of what it is that we're doing. The art and emotion of what it is that we provide is not something that can be replaced with a machine.
That's good. We're going to need you.
Yeah, we're going to do. So I think it's time for lightning round, Derek. We're having a lovely conversation, but our listeners are probably ready for us to wrap it a little bit and get to our lightning round. So we ask 4 questions, and the answers need to be no longer than 10 seconds each. So you want to hit it off, Derek, or you want me to kick it off for you? For you, Fred. So, all right, what saying are you known for? I say, stick with me, kid, and you might learn, and you'll have fun and you'll learn something. So,
I think probably the law of unintended consequences is something I rant and rave about in the office on a regular basis. I think our job is to make sure that we look at things from every single perspective and not get surprised by something that we didn't think of.
And then share one interesting fact.
That's a good one. I like that one. I'm always talking about it.
That would never show up on a formal bio that shaped your success.
Oh, this one is really silly. There's no significance to this at all, but you know me, and I've been vertically challenged all of my life. I had an opportunity back before I started replacing all the joints in my body. I played a little bit of tennis, and I qualified to be on the kind of the retired pro tour. And I played in an event down on Cape Cod back, I think I was 35, 36, just before I started the firm. And I had the opportunity to get to the finals in this match and play my childhood idol, Stan Smith.
Ooh.
And my partner and I won the tournament, and I beat Stan Smith. And Stan Smith obviously is significantly taller than I am. And what it emboldened me is to realize that, even as diminutive as I am, we still can slay the giants if we're smarter.
Oh, wow.
That shaped me quite a bit.
That's
that's impressive. Stan Smith is a tennis legend. That's great. So let's lighten up a little bit. What are you reading that is or listening to on podcasts that's helping you with your business life?
Yeah, I in the business that I'm in, I'm reading all day, every day. So here I am in Columbus. I have got 3 monitors and a TV in front of me right now, and I'm digesting information all day long. So what I try to do, and I do the same thing in the offices in Portland, I try to make sure that what I've got is a diverse collection of perspectives up there. I've got the perspective of the Financial Times and the BBC in Europe. I've got the Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg in the United States. I've got the Singapore Times in Asia. These are things so that I'm getting a global perspective of what it is that goes on. And then, quite honestly, at the end of the day, my brain is so fried, I just need to go to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the last question we say. But what are you live streaming? I think all the time, and then I go into my little bonus room and I escape into the live streaming world. Do you do any of that?
No. So my version of live streaming is actually live. I spend a great deal of time out in the community culturally. I mean, one of the things that I get out of IFOB is all of the people and all of the connections that they've got to the communities. Investing in our communities is not necessarily about a payback. It's about a give back. We get our livelihoods from the communities within which we live. And it's important. I mean, we're an investment firm, right? So what do we invest in? We have to invest in our communities. So for me, it's being out and about. I mean, Catherine, think about all the events we run into each other at our community and cultural events. That's part of giving back.
It is.
And I think that's my version of a live stream. Particularly since I'm so old, live streaming for me would be extraordinarily difficult.
Well, thank you so much for coming, Fred. I always love seeing you and having fun and chatting. And I knew that you and Derek would have a good time too. So thank you for investing in us and what you do and being a part of the community. It's really fun to have you there, and we appreciate it very much.
And before you go, You got to
Yeah.
tell everybody how they can reach
Oh,
you.
yeah, that's right.
How
You have
can
to
they
tell us where they
contact
can find you.
So it's oldportadvisors.com. We're 130 Mill Street in downtown Portland. Those are our main offices. Obviously, just Google us and you will find us as well.
All right.
And
We will
also
put
on
all
the
that in the
website.
show notes as well. So
Okay.
for our listeners, if you'd like to go to the show notes, we'll have all of Fred's contact information down there, I guess, up there, down there. I don't know where they put
Somewhere.
it, but
Somewhere out there.
somewhere in the world,
Thank you.
in the
Great,
digital
great.
world.
Thank you.
So thanks a lot for being on the show, Fred.
Hey, no problem, Dale. Safe trip back. Catherine, nice seeing you.
You.
See you.
All right.
Thanks.
Take care.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Chit Chat with Derek and Kat. If you loved hearing today's family business story, don't forget to follow the show and leave us a review. It helps more people find these amazing stories. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Want to learn more about the families and service providers we feature or get involved with the Institute for Family-Owned Business or Vogue Packaging Corporation? Visit fambusiness.org, fambusiness.org. We'll see you next time on Chit Chat with Derek and Kat.